Mommy makeovers, are we going too far? Let's talk about it.
We're going to talk about mommy makeovers this evening. Are we going too far? Did y'all hear that story about the reality star from Love and Hip Hop Hollywood? Did y'all hear
Yeah.
about the experience that she had? Are we going too far? Are we taking it too far? Are we sending the wrong message? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, y'all.
Mm.
So let me first explain to our viewership what a mommy makeover is. So according to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the goal of the mommy makeover is to restore the shape and appearance of a woman's body after childbearing, right? This can include procedures that will target areas such as the breast, the abdomen, the waist, the genitalia, and the buttocks. A mommy makeover may include procedures that includes breast augmentation, breast lift, buttocks augmentation, liposuction, a tummy tuck, and vaginal rejuvenation. Let's talk about
Mm,
it, y'all. So
mm,
so this particular reality story that kind of spurred or inspired this topic had her makeover, I will say, in another country. But apparently,
mhm.
this particular facility is very popular on Instagram and was very much well known, and there was no red flags according to the stories I read. And so the intention was to go to have a mommy makeover. And she reports that it started out, seemed like everything was pretty decent, but then ended up with an infection related to her breast implants. And that resulted in the sequela of the bad experience that she has endured. So we're going to talk about, what do y'all think about these mommy makeovers? First, let's talk about that part. Do we need mommy makeovers?
I mean, need and need and need. That's the question. I mean, what we talking about need? Okay, so I mean,
Does it need to be an option? Does it need to be an option?
I think so. I mean, I think it depends on the woman, the birth story,
Yeah.
what you went through, what your body went through. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I also think I'm a little bit swayed this way because born and raised in LA, there are things that become the norm, right? And so you're like, why not? But I think the problem comes when it's always a slippery slope of like, is this empowering women? Is it teaching women to love themselves? Or is this continuously feeding the idea that there's something wrong with us, that you need to fix us, that now that we've had babies, we're no longer desirable. We're trying to get the snatch back to
Ooh,
look like when we were 21. And honey, you know. So I think it just kind of depends on what your journey is and why you are there. And to be honest, I mean, complications are not rare. It's like real plastic surgery. It's a lot of procedures. A lot of the time people are out, they have infections. It's a rough go to recover. You just don't hear about it, but it ain't no joke.
and it is plastic surgery, right? It's just a certain group of plastic surgeries. So it very much is surgery. So there's always going to be risk of infection. Infection is a very common complication after any kind of surgery, and there's always going to be risk for bleeding. There's always going to be risk for anesthesia related complications. So yeah, you're right. It is real surgery, and there are very much real risk associated with it.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Is it worth
I
it?
say what, Doc?
I was just asking, is it worth it?
I don't know. I keep hearing stories of people like, dying under the table. I believe, another popular rapper, his mother died on the table and things like that. But if you have given birth to one child, two, three, four, and that's what you want to do for yourself, dang on it, you deserve it. You deserve it. And you deserve it as in the change that you want. If that's what makes you feel more feminine and gets you back to to where you can see yourself in a more beautiful, positive light, the more power to you. You birth humans. You know what, you could do what the hell you want to do on
Mhm.
this earth. Okay? After birthing some humans. So, but my only concern with that would be when it goes over the limit and it becomes an obsession with certain parts of your body that you deem undesirable, that you are always trying to fix. And it's a flaw that you see in your head that may not be known or seen to everyone else. And now what I'm talking about is body dysmorphic
Dysmorphia.
disorder. So if it's one of those issues, and I'm not saying this woman has mental health or anything like that, but I'm the resident mental health person, so I'm always going to put that spin on it. So if it's, and let me grab my notes. But if it's getting to that point where
Love it.
you're having that obsessive preoccupation with a specific part of your body, that will be a concern for me. However, if it's just okay, my boobs is lopsided. If I wasn't scared to go under the knife, I will get one even with the other. But that's not body dysmorphic disorder. You know what I mean? So I just think you just, if that's what you want, it makes you feel better about yourself, not pleasing everybody else. I think it's cool. Just not going, when you told it, when you go over that line, I think it becomes concerning.
How do you know if you're going over that line though? Because it's so trendy now that it just kind of seems like the thing to do.
When you
And a
see
lot of
somebody different, oh, sorry.
no, yeah. When people don't recognize you, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you forgot, or you like,
I can think
I
of
mean,
two
I'm
people like
I'm
that.
with
I'm like, who
Chastity. Yes, I'm with Chastity. I feel like it just really depends on where it's coming from.
is
But go
Mhm.
ahead, Karen. I know you have something to say, girl. You've been unmuted for a minute. Go ahead, Karen.
that?
No, I'm listening to y'all ladies, and I understand both of what y'all saying. If you want it, do we deserve it? Is it needed? No, 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 no. It's not needed. It's a want.
Mhm.
Just like we try to, as mothers, trying to teach our kids, it's a difference between a want and a need. It's not a need, it's a want. But if you feel that you need to change some stuff or get it back to the way it was before, go on ahead, go and do it. It's personal, but as we've seen results of a lot of people, like one particular person that we might be talking about, she got mad because she lost some fake boobs. She went back down to the regular normal boobs. Wow. You lucky you got boobs, period. You acting like they just took your whole boobs away. You just flat chested. You ain't got no boobs at all.
I mean, it was just unrecognizable. It's still unrecognizable. And so I've definitely considered getting a mommy makeover. I actually want a mommy makeover, but it is for a couple of reasons. It's because I've been, and to get it back to what it was. I'm trying to help.
Is that?
Get it
I
to
feel
where
like,
it's supposed to be.
yeah, because I feel like before, that's how I used to feel too about surgeries and everything. I was like, nah, you have to love yourself. You have to um accept yourself for who you are. But for me now, looking at the reality of where I am and what I actually want is not to have my stomach hanging on my thighs and having chafing and all that. I don't want that. I'm uncomfortable with that. It bothers me. I feel like I can't wear clothes. Like, I would like that not to be there. It wasn't there before. I would like it not to be there. That's the thing. And the only thing that's really going to do that is surgery. The only thing that's going to take away any of that. So I would like to, the first time in my life, not have an obese abdomen. For the first time in my life, I would love to feel what that feels like. With my efforts, with working with a personal trainer, with working with a nutritionist, with doing all of those things, I have never not, from the time I was 10 years old, I have never not had a tummy, right? I would like to know what that feels like. My breasts, all of these things that I'm like, the hanging skin here, I would like to give my body a chance to shine in the way that it was going to. And so I more than likely will have a mommy makeover. I've done a lot of research about it. Yeah, is it vanity? 100%. Is it something that is probably going to make me feel good? 100%. Could it go wrong? Yeah. Like, I'm not lying or hiding about any of those things. And I think a lot of people aren't. But for me, it is definitely coming from a place of self-love and kind of being like, I would like this. Actually, I would like this. Despite what anybody else says, I would like this. I would like to. And if there's a method that can help me, I would like to try it.
I like the fact that I was just going to say, I like the fact that you mentioned that you do have plans to continue to have a healthy lifestyle, because I think one of the challenges is whether it's a mommy makeover or some other form of plastic surgery, that the pitfall is that a lot of people usually just kind of go back to their regular lifestyle, and then when they encounter the same body that they just surgically removed or surgically augmented, then it becomes
Right.
more of a
Right.
psychological challenge. And then you end up in this cycle where you are doing these plastic surgeries, having the same lifestyle or unhealthy lifestyle. For those who are unhealthy, some people are actually healthy. For those who are unhealthy, and then going back into this mode again, or like Chastity mentioned, having this body dysmorphic disorder that leads you to still see the abnormality, to still see the imperfection, and then going again and having another procedure because of that. Yeah.
And I think the big thing to with Olivia, I am with you 100%. And if there wasn't such a huge stigma to like body reconstruction, I probably would do it. And plus, if I wasn't scared of blood and needles, and I, don't like to endure a lot of pain, I would probably do it well. But there's a lot of stigma around it, and I want to be able to say that I lost weight on my own. But what I'm hearing, like you say, Olivia, like you've exhausted all possibilities. That wasn't your first that wasn't your first go-to, you know what I mean? But for a lot of men, for a lot of women, that's their first go-to. I remember it's a popular female rapper, and she had surgery before her kid, and she looked great, and she got pregnant, and she had a kid, and she said, I don't like working out, so I had surgery. And I was like, wow. But the other important thing to that is, to your point, Dr. Moore, my mom told me something a really long time ago. She said, no matter what you do, you can always run, but you always take you with you. So no matter how many times you change your skin color, no matter how many times you inject your lips, change your nose, change your boobs, change your thighs, if you do not change that psychological mindset as to how you got to and talk to that little child or address that trauma or address that history that you may have had, be that an abnormal history you had with your body or your hair, because when I was competing, I lost a boatload of weight. And when I hit the stage, I was like 146 pounds. And I mean, I had the V, I didn't have no chi-chis or anything. And I still saw myself as being big. And I mean, I had the slanted jaws. I mean, I had my biceps, I was ripped.
And
I was
Chastity,
cut.
when you say compete, please clarify for our audience what you mean by compete.
I was a female. It was like it was a fitness competition.
Ooh.
So I competed. Olivia, I was 36 years old when I hit the stage. I started at like 170 something, 60 something pounds. So when I hit the stage, I was 146.
Oof.
And I still saw myself as fat. And since then, in 5 years, the same weight I lost, I gained it back, but I just look different. So I'm like 198 pounds now. I didn't appreciate the body that I had or what I put my body through.
Right.
What my body has survived.
Right.
I didn't appreciate it. So if you don't have, like you said, if you don't change that mindset, you will still always see yourself with that. You will always have that preoccupation with that flaw, whichever it may be, your skin tone, your lips, your nose, your thighs. My thighs have been attached since birth. I have never had separate thighs, and I would love that very much.
Yeah, I
think it's like, go ahead, Dr. Moore.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I think like, I don't know if I should here, because we talk about it all the time, but I had weight loss surgery. I had weight loss surgery 3 years ago. And it was also the same thing. Like I've been struggling with weight since I was about 8 years old was the first diet I ever went on. And so it's been this like constant journey. And what I learned when I went to college was that it was all mental, it was psychological. And so you have moments of huge success, right? You lose weight, you're in a great space, and it's like this journey of up and down. And after I had my son, I'd gotten to the heaviest I'd ever been. I was 275 pounds. And I was just feeling completely lost. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. Doesn't matter who you ask. Everybody's got a different opinion, right? Keto, vegetarian, vegan. Like I just don't know anymore. I was like, Jesus, sweet Jesus, I just need help because I feel like I'm losing to the battle of obesity and the obsession about it. And so I was just like, I feel like I'm just going to die of fatness. And so, and that was after years of struggling with it, of every diet, every exercise thing. And I remember sitting next to my husband and I was just crying because I was like, honey, I just don't know what to do anymore. Like, I just want to love myself. I just want to be happy, but I don't want to be this fat, this rough, And he looks at me, he says, if there was a tool out there that could help me lose weight and be successful, I would do it without any questions asked. And I was like, you mean the surgery? He's like, yeah, I know you're thinking about it. Just do it. And so he gave me the permission to do it, and I did it. And it was successful up to a point. And like you said, Chastity, then you have to do therapy and work on the psychological aspect as to why you do that to your body in the first place. And so after weight loss surgery and the way your body changes, and so all of these are steps that I have taken, and a lot of people take. Most people that have weight loss surgery, lose a lot of weight, have body reconstructive surgery, because now, it's all these steps in like healing and working and figuring out. So it is therapy, working with a nutritionist and a trainer, and like being like, okay, what is the next step to kind of help my body move along? So I think those are places of love. I think you just have to be clear about why you're doing what you're doing and understand the risks. I never do anything. I'm a healthcare professional, so I never do anything without researching the heck out of it. I never go to a doctor without researching the heck out of the doctor, their stats, their complication rates, what are the, possibilities and things like that. So I think because surgery is so normalized, people do not realize that you're literally putting your life in their hands and at risk every time you go under the knife. That's no joke.
Yeah, I totally hear that. And I love that you guys are talking about the psychological aspect, because I really do think, even if it's a minor procedure, because sometimes people think, oh, I don't need a psychological evaluation because I'm just tucking a little bit here and a little bit there. But I really do think that even with the most minor reconstructive surgery, first of all, it's still surgery. But then two, that can still, if it's not being done with the right intent, it can still open that door and be that gate to additional surgeries and to the habitual plastic surgery. So I do think that every woman who's considering some type of reconstructive surgery to really get a psychological evaluation, just to make sure, like, why not? We do so many things to prep for surgery, right? Like if you have certain risk factors, we get an EKG, you get blood work done. And that's basically our way of assessing whether or not the surgery, you're going to be high risk for surgery. But we never really put that emphasis on the psychological preparation. Like there is no psychological evaluation that's done by standard before someone undergoes a procedure. And certainly we're not talking about urgent procedures that are life-saving. We're talking about specifically sort of cosmetic surgery, so to speak, which I think is a unique batch of surgeries. So I feel like just like we need to normalize the pre-op psychological evaluation, just as we do the lab work, the EKGs, or whatever else we're doing as a part of the pre-op evaluation. And then also get yourself a surgeon that's ethnically competent,
Yes.
because I mean, I feel like as women of color, we have amazing bodies. And what I don't want us to do is to alter the amazing contour of our bodies to start to look like something else. So making sure, if you want your body to still ethnically look right, and you ladies know what I mean by that,
Yes.
get someone who's ethnically competent so that you don't come out looking like Barbie, right?
I have a question for Olivia. Question. So you say you had got a surgery before, right? And you had got a trainer and a nutritionist and all that stuff, right? So what's the difference between then and now that you're going to do? Are you going to really keep up the stuff? Because did you stop? Did you stop with them, or did you keep it up with them?
No. So I've always had a healthy life. I've always had an active lifestyle. So I was a college athlete. I was a high school athlete. I've had periods in my life where I don't necessarily work out a lot, but I've had a personal trainer for the last 2 years now, a nutritionist and all of that. So it's not something, it's a lifestyle for me. It's not something that's going to stop. Like, I just want to get thin, because my body doesn't do that, clearly.
No, because I thought you said you had stopped it and then you like about to start back.
No, I know. Yeah. No, I have
And,
all of that.
and she did have a little something in between. And he's quite handsome and quite cute in between.
He had kids.
The little one.
In between.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like, what I have?
Threw me for a loop, girl. But I'm gonna say, yeah, my son. Piggybacking on what you said, though, Dr. T, about getting a surgeon who's ethnically conscious or aware. I also tell people, for anybody who's had like weight loss surgery or extreme weight loss, find a surgeon whose specialty is body reconstruction after major weight loss. It's a very big difference. And that's really important for people who are in that subset, that category of people, because it's the same thing. Like Dr. C said, you want somebody who specializes in helping to reveal your body after all the work you have done.
And can
Yes.
I also, I'm coming back around, the
Uh-huh.
work that you do for yourself mentally prior to, do the same thing afterwards, because when you see yourself in a different light that you have not seen yourself in a really long time, you have no idea what to do with yourself.
Yep.
You
And you
honestly
self-sabotage
do
like
not.
crazy. Like
And,
crazy. And
but
then
you're
you
also talking
self-sabotage like
positive
crazy.
on it.
So,
Go ahead. But you're also talking positive and negative, Chastity, right? Because you can look
Yes,
in the mirror and like what you see, but not be accustomed to it. And then also you can look in the mirror and not like what you see. Because
it may,
sometimes
exactly, because it may not, in your mind, what actually happens versus the reality versus the expectation could be two totally different things. Because in your mind, you think your body can handle something that you've been looking at and or wanting, and your body not respond well to it, or your body may not have conformed to the vision that you had in your head. So you're going to have
amen.
to be able to deal with
Amen.
not the aftermath like a bad way, but you're going to have to deal with the after effects of what your body looks like, be that good, bad, or indifferent. It may look wonderful, and you may, like my mama said, she said, let me ever get a body and some hair, I will have no friends. So it may give you like a boost of self-esteem, but then it can also be like, okay, wait, I don't like this. So this didn't happen. Okay, so I'm gonna wait my 6 weeks, then I'm gonna go back and then I'm gonna fix it. But if you don't fix it up here, it's never gonna look good. It's never gonna be enough if
Amen.
it's not fixed here first, before and or after. And I want people to understand, also, we're talking about like, weight issues, and we're talking about weight loss, and also know, just because you're skinny don't mean you healthy.
that's right.
Amen.
So let's also put that caveat out there, because I just want to make sure that people aren't thinking that we're just talking about big girls and stuff like that. I'm talking for me, from my experience, but then I also have a sister who's had 3 kids and got a 6-pack and hasn't done a sit-up in ever. So some people's bodies are naturally the way that they are. And she wants to gain weight. So there's different struggles that we all have as men, women, period. I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all see I'm about to say his name, but there's a man who keeps getting plastic surgery. I'm like, sir, will you please stop?
There's
I
a
mean, I
whole
would say men, women, and transgender, right? The LGBTQ,
yeah.
same thing. Like, we all balance with the struggle of what is helping you to reveal your true self and what is actually hindering that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a lot of women in the postpartum period, it's not necessarily always weight related. And I think that when we talk about obesity, it's a really complicated, like we make obesity seem like it's just a simple medical condition, but it's not at all. It's so complicated, and
It is.
so many factors feed into our weight and our weight gain. So I definitely will echo what Olivia's already doing, which is garnering a team, because it really does take a team. Because whether it's your sleep issues, your eating issues, your physical activities, your stress level, there's so many factors, underlying conditions, medications you may be on. Obesity can be a result of any of these issues, underlying issues. And so part of the work when you're dealing with the weight aspect of it is really doing the homework to find out what are your triggers, what is the underlying thing that's cycling this inflammatory process, which is expressed as obesity. But see us in our webinars if you want to find out more about that. But to your point also is the pregnancy planning, right? So making sure that if you are doing these procedures, make sure you are done with your babies. Because what you don't want to do is have a procedure and then get pregnant. And this happens often. And I'm not talking about the unplanned pregnancies. I'm talking about those who are still thinking and consciously thinking about having another child. Well, you may want to plan your procedure until you feel like you're truly done with your childbearing, because
Yeah.
you may encounter the same issues, because all it takes is one. How many women had one child? My mama still talk about me. How many women? It's like, oh, that man, I still get paid for everything. But how many women had one child and that one child correct? Have it. And then
My mama had 3, but I'm the one who messed everything up. It was me, and I'm the one who.
There's always that one. But you know, it's a sacrifice for medicine because we ended up in the medical field. How about that? How about that? But to your point, also, I wanted to touch on before we go the vaginal rejuvenation aspect of it, because that's the part that I think we're dealing with function, right? So a lot of times we're talking about tucking in the subcutaneous layers, not really going to any depth, but the vagina has a function. And so one of the things you want to make sure is when you get these procedures that you're also aware of the possibility of scarring, stricturing, which can alter the function of the vagina, which then leads to your sexual pleasure. So for women who are contemplating that aspect, I do want to touch on the fact that, you know, don't take the vaginal rejuvenation is not the same as liposuction. There may
Right.
be functional issue that you may encounter after the fact. So make sure that you are very much prepared, aware, and informed before you have procedures that may lead to functional complications. That's all. So we thank you y'all for hanging out with us. Any other last thoughts before we go? That's
That's all. Love
Do your
yourself.
homework.
we
Do your
done
Love
homework.
yourself.
Love yourself, like Karen said. Do your
love
homework.
yourself. We done dropped a nickel, a dime, and a quarter. We thank you guys.
Oh,
We thank you
love it.
guys for hanging out with us. Where can they find you? Fabulous Bob Cut, because I'm sling today. Where they gonna find you, Karen?
They can find me at What a Touch on IG.
Okay, coming up, our midwife who is so transparent and just freeing people with her transparency. Where can they find you?
On Instagram at This American Midwife.
Awesome. And HBC resident, she gonna lay it down. Make sure your mind is right. Chelsea, where they gonna find you?
at miss._chas with a Z on Instagram.
Awesome. And I am Dr. T, as always, hopping on here for what a quick minute, making sure that you are informed when it comes to your fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum period. Catch us on Healthy Bump Club on Instagram. I'm the hand behind the handle. And we hope that you love this video and that you check out our other videos, making sure that we keep you informed and entertained. We love y'all. See y'all next episode. Bye.
We love that you are a part of our community, and we want you to continue to be a part of our community. So go ahead and do what? Like the videos, hit notification, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys.